At the foot of the Yinshan Mountains in Beijing lies a vast seed bank, preserving the legacy of a civilization. Among its 16 million treasures, one exquisite bronze vessel stands out. Inside its base, a 122-character inscription, carved over 3,000 years ago, records a ritual text. It also includes the earliest known written mention of Zhongguo, the word we now know as China. No one then could have imagined these characters would link us to one of the world's longest-standing civilizations. The character Zhong first appeared in Oracle Bone script, originally depicting a flag waving at the center of tribal land. Over time, it came to represent a worldview rooted in balance and fairness, an ideal of self-discipline, integrity, and harmony. Over thousands of years, Zhongguo, China, has evolved continuously as a nation. Generation after generation, Chinese people have drawn strength from their history, not to repeat it, but to build upon it. Today, the world seeks to understand this country. To do that, we need to look back to the roots that have shaped it. This is a story of continuity. Like the character Zhong, Chinese civilization has stood the test of time, grounded in history, growing through change, and still shaping the world today.
The state is in the front. Soldiers carry heavy
Hi,
weapons.
I'm Lee Yoshi, a content creator with a bit of an unusual background. I studied Oracle Bone script. Yeah, those ancient-looking characters carved into turtle shells and animal bones. Sounds a little niche, I know. But here's the thing. Those old and mysterious symbols are actually the roots of Chinese characters. In this documentary, I'm setting out on a journey to see these ancient scripts in a new light. Not just in books or museums, but in real places, in living culture. I'm not in one of the big-name Oracle Bone sites like Yinshu or Zhaoyuan. I've come to Guyuan, the farthest northwest spots where Oracle Bones have ever been discovered.
翻过山沟还是那山沟，嘿，我的家就在那沟里头。黄河水呀，呼噜噜的家门口流，祖祖辈辈爱唱行天游。哎呦，这玩意儿真是了，
好听好听。
就我们之前上工地，一直这样啊，拉十几个人
十几个人，
啊。
就视野特别好，很有生命力的感觉。
After a ride in a friendly local's truck, I finally arrived at the Yaoheyuan ruins, out here in the vast northwest of China.
你好，我是李幼熙。
Waiting to meet me was Ma Chong, the head of the archaeology team. Along with dozens of teammates, he's been here for 7 years, working to uncover a chapter of an ancient civilization that's been buried for thousands of years.
我们现在看到的这个遗址区，就是92万平方米的一个颐和园遗址的一个分布范围，就是整个。
A walled city once stood here, by the water. From the relics, burial customs, and traces of daily life, archaeologists traced it back to the Western Zhou dynasty, more than 3,000 years ago. But here's the twist. There's no mention in historical records of the Western Zhou rulers granting a vassal state this far northwest. So, what was the city called? And why was it built here? Ma Chong thinks the answer might lie in the unearthed Oracle Bones.
颐和园出土的加工主要集中在这个墓葬区，其中我们比较重要的这个入荣于霍侯的这个卜辞呢，就是在这个地方发现的。意思这样下就行了。
哇，身手真好。马老师平时都那么下的？
对，平时就是那样下的，因为梯子没有跳得快。就是我们说的 M13这个甲骨，当时其实也是个碎物葬。
入荣于霍侯那块甲骨是在哪个地方挖掘出来的？
那一块的话，其实是比较早出现，就在那个角那里，在那个墙壁下面，就我刮的话就出来。
The Marquis of Hor inscription uncovered a super old state called Hor State. It was the farthest known vassal of the Western Zhou. And get this, it hadn't popped up in any records for over 3,000 years. It was right here in this mix of farmland and grassland. Unfortunately, I can't see it just yet. The excavation's still underway. But there's another one I can take a look at.
好，右西，我们去看看我们库房。这一件呢是这个与农业生产有关系的一件，你看看。
字在哪？
因为西周这个字都特别小，
我真的看不清这个字。殷墟的甲骨大部分都很深刻的，很清晰。
就是西周的大量字儿是黄米粒大小。你拿到手上看。
哎，我看到了一个，就是稼，庄稼的稼。
稼就是种植嘛。对吧？
哦，左边是禾苗，右边是贵族的人。是稷字吗？这个？
对。稷就是我们说的小米。就是稷字。
那稼稷，约，这个丝稼稷，卜之类的。
对。
那其实就是可能在卜问
倒麦
种植这个的情况怎么样。
Holding an oracle bone for the first time and trying to read those tiny, ancient marks, it felt like I was unlocking a message from thousands of years ago.
觉河源遗址它实际上就是一个军事的前哨基地，就是对我们认知周王朝在西北地区管控经营状况，让我们了解当时西周人在边疆治理方面的一个能力，就是可以印证我们这个史料的一些不足。我准备着下。
Today, I'm joining the archaeologists at the busiest market around. We're setting up a little stall to share some cool stuff about the dig and chat with the locals.
是整到这儿吗？大华？
对。
可以带回去看一看，都是咱们这儿出土的文物。您是属牛还是属羊还是属马？
属蛇。
属蛇啊？那你这看看这里哪个是蛇？
这是个蛇。
哎，厉害，很形象。这个是我们3000多年前的文字。
这是蛇，就是个猴子啊。
对呀，很像的，对吧？厉害厉害。
那猴子有点。
这个很像猴子，就这样子吗？
你属什么的？
你
属狗的。哪个你感觉像哪个像狗？
哎呀，猜对了。
对了吗？
你为什么觉得它是狗啊？看起来像，确实是狗。这个长长的尾巴嘛，然后就是狗嘴，2个腿。
Honestly, I didn't expect this. People recognized these oracle bone characters right away. What's amazing is that this ancient pictographic system actually evolved into the Chinese characters people still use today. Totally one of a kind. Pretty cool, right?
你往前走。久不了。
你的手法怎么那么专业？你学过？
这个给我撒点调料好吗？
你咋呀？
就我也很好奇，你们当初为什么会选择考古专业？为什么会到这个地方来？
干一些自己喜欢的一些工作，然后再有点工资。
就是跟性格有关系，就是喜欢安静。
就是每天在外面晒一天也很辛苦，但是后来也没有选择放弃，就反而就是在这个过程中，发现自己逐渐喜欢上这个工作了。
听他们说，其实都是就是平凡人，就是不知道为什么突然戳中我，因为
就是，
其实就是
贫乏的人，
因为哎呀妈呀！肯定是不断的有怀疑，但是一段时间过后又觉得我可以，又能继续干，感觉你的生命已经跟它融为一体了，你也就会一直做下去了。
I'm a content creator, sharing stories about Oracle Bone Script. They're archaeologists digging into history. Different paths, same journey. Tough, quiet, sometimes lonely. But the deeper you go, the more this amazing civilization pulls you in. First discovered in 1899, Oracle Bone Script amazed the world. The stories they hold are huge for global civilizations. But time has blurred much of their meaning, making them super tough to decode. I'm in Beijing to meet someone who's managed to crack a few of these ancient puzzles.
这个试读甲骨文它到底是怎样一个过程？
其实每个人大概都不一样。有的人可能是由字形出发的机缘。有的学者可能是通过词例，通过语境的这个限定，推测这个字形，然后破译甲骨文的。
100,000 yuan, roughly $15,000 for one character. The National Museum of Chinese Writing launched a hefty reward in 2018 and again in 2024 for anyone who can translate these tricky symbols. This also brought Oracle Bone script out of academia and into the public spotlight. And Professor Wang has cracked too.
我好像更偏重于词例。那我介绍一下这个，就两部分。左下角呢像一个一曲九叶的一个一曲之器。
是。
右上角呢就这个
兵器。
这兵器戈。我发现呢，在很多词例里边，就也有这样的词例，它的词例是很相近的。我就怀疑这个字形啊，它表示的字应该跟冠是一个。你看戈跟这个一九之器是完全不能相容的。
对，不太有联系。
没有联系的肯定不是表意字了，对吧？
那就是声符。
对，所以右上角就是戈，就加了一个声符。
很妙啊，感觉。
所以这个字应该就这么使出。
These ancient texts mean so much, historically and culturally. But even now, we've only cracked about a third. There are still over 2,000 characters that remain a mystery.
像这些字，如果你认识很多周代金文和战国文字，你完全可以把它们排成一对。很多学者把这种方法叫根据孙子找爷爷。我们知道这个四大文明古国都有的四大文字，对吧？其他3种古老文字都断层都灭亡了，消失了，唯有汉字经过3000多年到现在仍然没有变。实际上，这古文字从来没离开我们。
They say deciphering an Oracle Bone character is like discovering a new planet, and honestly, I don't think that's an overstatement. Every puzzle we solve unlocks so much more, and there's still so much to uncover. Just like these ancient texts, there's another story that unveils the very blueprint of how civilizations find their balance and order.
I see none. I therefore declare draft decision 46-8B.15 adopted.
第46届世界遗产大会，
世界遗产大会通过决议，
将北京中轴线中国理想都城秩序的杰作列入世界遗产名录。
Laid out in the 13th century, the Beijing Central Axis runs through the heart of Beijing, from north to south. It's the longest urban axis in the world today.
对，这两天电视上老报道，
老百姓的心目中啊，非常敬仰。
我在这生活36年，站在皇城根脚下吧，4平8稳吧，心里踏实。
Many civilizations use central axes, but China stands out for its deep history, symbolism, and cultural continuity. Where did it all begin? What does it truly represent? I'm going to trace it back to its roots and explore its earliest form across China.
为什么说邺城是都城规划的一个肇始地？就是因为曹操在建邺北城的时候，就是把
One UF from the museum told me that way back in the 3rd century, the warlord Cao Cao started building the northern part of Yecheng. And for the first time, a city was built with a full plan first. Clear zones, perfect symmetry. Then in 534, Emperor Xiaojing moved the capital here and made it even bigger.
赵夏3日车驾便发，户40万，狼狈就到。就40万户的人来到邺城呢，他重修北城也住不下，所以就建起了规模更加宏大的邺南城。整个南城呢更加规整，这个中轴线也更加的明显。一砖一瓦一个建筑群体，包括甚至整个城市，它都是中轴对称的。
为什么当时的人选择以这样中轴线的理念去设计这个城？
古之王者，则天下之中立国，则国之中立公，则公之中立庙。所以，当这些帝王统治者为了彰显自己的身份和地位，他就要干一件大事，创造一条中轴线。
Right next to the museum, you'll find the Yeqing ruins. Today, it's just fields. Imagine what it once was.
到中间的这个区域就是当时的中轴线。
大概有多长呢？这个路线
？3000多米，3640米。
The Central Axis concept started in Yeqing, passed through Chang'an, and shaped Beijing's layout, defining China's capital cities throughout history.
What I've written here is the Zhong character from Oracle Bone Script. It looks like a square piece of land, with a flag planted right in the center, waving in the wind. What amazes me is that the concept of the Central Axis we see today shares the same idea. It's incredible how these concepts have lasted through history. To explore it, I've chosen a very down-to-earth way, taking the bus. Bus number 5 is one of the oldest routes in the city, running for 89 years. It's also known as the Dragon Spine route and passes landmarks like Tiananmen Gate, Jingshan Hill, and Drum Tower, key spots right on Beijing's Central Axis.
Just like me, there are plenty of fans on this bus. Bus number 5 is like a moving museum, giving us an easy look at a 700-year-old blueprint. The Central Axis began in the Yuan dynasty and took shape in the Ming and Qing. It stretches 7.8 kilometers, linking 15 heritage sites. A building ensemble exhibiting the ideal order of the Chinese capital.
支持刷码乘车，前方到站是5楼德胜门、天安门广场东。前方到站是前门。
姜老师您好，我是李游熙。
你好，你好。今天很开心，我们可以来看一看中轴线。
Professor Jiang is a heritage expert that worked to get the Beijing Central Axis listed as a World Heritage Site.
我们正阳门的门洞啊，社稷坛是国家祭祀的场所，所以对于农耕文明而言，社稷就是国家的一个象征。它正好在我们北京中轴线的右侧。 所以我们看中轴线对城市影响的布局里面叫左主右摄。那边是太庙，太庙是皇帝的家庙，那是叫他的家。这边是国，所以家国情怀左主右摄。
The Central Axis isn't just a line, it's a pulse of the city's past, present, and future. I even ran into an artist near the altar of land and grain. He's painted all 15 heritage sites on the Central Axis and even captured its seasons.
你要细看中轴线，你会发现它的每一个点都有自己的文化特点，而不是说浅薄的说它就是一条轴线，它的承载力极强。左右两侧排布着不同的建筑、园林、民宿，它不是简单的一个就是红墙碧瓦或者红墙黄瓦、红墙蓝瓦。你像去天坛，你看到的天的颜色呢就是蓝色的顶子，但是你到皇家建筑呢往往是黄顶子，民居呢它就是灰顶子，真是非常奇妙。我们提出保护中轴线，实际上是对我们的自己的文化的一次再认识。
而且说到这个中轴线，我就记得有一句话很有名，就是 梁思成先生说的，就是北京独特的壮美秩序，就是由这个中轴线的建立而产生嘛。
北京中轴线是整个城市规划的一条轴线，城市规矩方正，坐北朝南，然后轴线是从南到北，然后建筑物都是东西对称分布，
是，
所以形成了一种端庄典雅、大气的城市格局啊。
是。
Professor Jiang told me the Beijing Central Axis, a masterpiece of city planning, is still growing. The China National Archives of Publications and Culture sits right on its extended line.
那些所有的历史或者文化都塑造了现在的我们，也会影响着未来的我们。
其实我们的思想、我们的传统都受到我们祖先的长久以来的影响，都是一种文化记忆。
Standing here, I can feel what the Central Axis has meant to the Chinese people from ancient times to now, as well as how it reflects their views of heaven, earth, humanity, the universe, and time. And that got me thinking, where did this idea of unity of heaven and man actually come from?
Chinese civilization is not just something we see. It is something that runs deep through generations. In northeast China, there is a place where 3 long ridges stretch across the land for 10 kilometers, and a winding river cuts through them. This place is called Niuherliang. It holds some of the earliest secrets of Chinese civilization. In the 1980s, archaeologists began uncovering a large ceremonial complex here. They later linked the site to the Neolithic Hanshan culture, which dates back roughly 5,000 to 6,000 years.
Hello,
尤其你好。
你好，我是
你好，欢迎来到。
This is Guo Ming, the excavation leader at Niuherliang. The first artifact she showed me was a groundbreaking discovery, a goddess head, found in 1983.
哇，是很漂亮的一个女神像。
严格来说，它应该至少到5600到5800这样的一个时间段。在我们国内发现比较早的一个塑像。那有塑像呢，其实意味着人开始有了一种
崇拜。
对，当人有一个信仰，可能就会有某种组织。那它整个的社会的结构就不像我们想象的。那我们接下来过来就可以看到了女神头像出土的地方，女神庙的一个复原展示的区域。它开始有了一个祖先的血缘的，或者说甚至于家族的宗族的这样的一个概念了。等于说它的这个群体就不像以前是个很散落的，它开始有一个等级化的群体。
Dr. Guo explained that the formation of clans and social hierarchy sparked belief systems and social order. To help me understand better, she took me to the altar area of the site. I saw clusters of burial mounds in different sizes and styles, suggesting early social ranks. At the center of it all is a circular altar made of 3 concentric stone rings.
为什么是这样子的设计呢？为什么是3个圆？
它这3个圆呢，代表的就是最外面的应该是冬至，然后呢春秋分、夏至这样的一个太阳能够观测到的位置。
很好奇，当时怎么能把它整这么圆？
同心圆可能相对来说要好做一点嘛，定点，然后拉根绳子。
哦，对对对，哦。
但它这个神奇的点呢，就在于祭坛的这个3重圆呢，它的直径其实特别有意思的，它分别是11、15.6和22，它这3个数字比是根号2。在它这儿呢，就能够体现在了天圆和地方这样的一个概念，就是
地方在哪里啊？只看到圆。
哎，这个最有趣的一点呢，你只看到个圆，对吧？它有一个隐形的方，就是如果我们贴着中间的那个圆画一个方形，里面那个圆就正好这个方形的内切，它是由方取的圆。通过先确定方形，然后再确定圆形的位置。天人合一，天地和谐嘛。
The numerical code, like the 3 concentric rings and the square root of 2, reveals the Hanshan people's understanding of heaven. This structural feature isn't unique. Similar 3-ring designs have been found in Anhui's Lingjia Tun, the circular mound altar in Xi'an, and the Temple of Heaven in Beijing. However, Niuherliang showcases the earliest known example in China. Over 5,000 years ago, on the towering altar of Niuherliang, the Hongshan people developed their early beliefs and understanding of the natural world. The idea of a deep connection between humans and nature has lasted through the ages and continues to influence the world today. In this very place, one of the cradles of Chinese civilization, humans and nature have reached a new level of harmony.
海峰哥，
哎，来了哈！
在这里呀、你。
嗯。
这就是你的玉米地是
对，
吧？
弄草，咱这不打药，纯是绿色食品。
In Hongswoon, a village in Chaoyang, the same area as Niuherliang, I met Li Haifeng. His cornfield will soon be harvested, and he's expecting some special guests.
这是咱红村天鹅湾，现在已经。
Every October, swans fly all the way from Siberia to Hongswoon for the winter. In late 2010, the Chaoyang Baisha Reservoir Wetland Nature Reserve was established, and Swan Bay was included. Local forestry and grassland staff, along with volunteers, work together to provide a home for over 80,000 migratory birds.
天鹅到最多的时候达到700-800只、上千只左右，那是3月份。它那膀子一伸开是，
它很大是吧？
对，1.5米。我上那投食一吹哨，全起飞往那飞，
就都围着你。
对对，
那场景应该很壮观啊。
壮观。其实你要在家里有啥愁事一到天鹅湾，啥愁事都没有。我对象说的，你一到天鹅湾，一看到天鹅，你脸都乐开花了。
天鹅那个发了朋友圈，说告诉左邻右舍，这里好，人山清水秀，人善，
山清水秀，人也好，大家都来，然后大家就都来。
Hongswoon has become a perfect winter escape for swans, and in return, the swans have brought real change to the village. As I walked around, I noticed more locals opening guest houses and small businesses. The swans have made life here not just beautiful, but better.
这环境是越来越好了，人们现在就自觉的也知道就是
保护环境，
保护，因为天鹅对我们这儿都富起来了，
反正就是一年收入个15万吧，大伙都开心呐。天鹅来了，老百姓致富了，能不开心吗？
Although it's not the season, I can still picture the swans flying freely, living in harmony with humans. It's a modern reflection of the Hongshan people's respect for nature. As I wrap up this journey, what I've uncovered is amazing. From ancient wisdom to architectural feats, to nature's balance, these stories aren't just from the past. They continue to shape our present and future. Exploring these roots gives us a deeper understanding of the incredible continuity that has not only shaped China, but the world. I'm Li Yoshi, and the journey to the roots of this ancient civilization has only just begun.